Lucas needs me tonight, Claire said, standing by the door, her phone glowing in her hand. Her voice was soft but urgent, the kind that made me feel selfish if I questioned it. Needs you for what? I asked, looking up from the couch. It's almost 10, Claire. She slipped her shoes on. He's going through something. I told you about his breakup last week. Yeah, but can't you talk to him tomorrow? It's late. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she scrolled through her phone, her lips curling into a faint smile. A smile I hadn't seen all day. Claire, I said again, slower this time. What's going on? She finally looked at me. Nothing's going on. He just needs a friend. I tried to smile back, though something in my chest tightened. You've been with him a lot lately. He's my best friend, she said sharply. Would you rather I ignore him when he's struggling? Her tone cut through me. I raised my hand slightly. No, never mind. Go if you have to. She exhaled, grabbed her bag, and walked to the door. Don't wait up. But of course I did. After she left, the house felt emptier than usual. The ticking clock sounded louder, each second poking at my nerves. I tried watching TV, then reading, but every sound outside made me glance at the door. I kept replaying her smile in my head, the way it appeared when she read his messages. It wasn't the smile she gave me. Hers for me had grown smaller over time, quieter, almost forced. Mark's words from last week echoed in my head. You sure nothing's off between you two? I'd laughed it off then. I didn't feel like laughing now. At midnight, I texted her, "You okay? When are you coming home?" No reply. By 1 a.m., I sent another, "Is everything all right?" Still nothing. I got up, paced around the living room, then sat down again. I stared at her photo on the mantel, her smile, her eyes that once looked only at me. I told myself she was just helping a friend. Claire had always been kind. Maybe too kind, but kindness doesn't make you hide your messages. Around 2 a.m., I heard a car outside. My pulse jumped, but it wasn't her. Just a neighbor. I laughed quietly to myself, though it sounded more like a sigh. When she finally came home near 4, I pretended to be asleep. She moved quietly, taking off her heels. I could smell her perfume, different from her usual floral scent. It was heavier, musky, her phone buzzed. I opened my eyes a little, just enough to see her check it and smile. She typed something quickly and then set it face down on the nightstand. Long night? I murmured, my voice low. She froze. You're awake? Couldn't sleep. Oh. She slipped under the blanket beside me. Lucas had a lot on his mind, did he? Yes, she said quietly. You know how he gets emotional after drinks. I turned to face her. You smell like whiskey, she flinched. He spilled some. Don't start, Ethan, please. I'm not starting anything, I said, though my throat ached. Just worried. Her hand brushed my arm. Don't be. He's going through a rough time. You'd do the same for Mark, wouldn't you? I wanted to believe that. God, I wanted to believe that. She kissed my cheek and whispered, I love you, before turning away. I stared at the ceiling long after her breathing slowed into sleep. The words I love you echoed in the dark, but they didn't sound the same anymore. Something had shifted tonight. Something invisible but real, like a crack spreading through glass, and deep down I knew it was only the beginning. Are you working late again? I asked, leaning against the kitchen counter. Claire tied her hair, avoiding my eyes. Lucas needs help setting up his new place. He's terrible with furniture, I tried to laugh. He's terrible with boundaries, too. She froze for a moment. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, I said quickly. Just joking, she grabbed her keys. You always think the worst, Ethan. Because you've been gone almost every night this week, I replied softly. I just miss you, her voice softened. You know how much he helped me when my dad passed. I can't just abandon him now. I'm not asking you to, I said, forcing a smile. Just remember you're married to me, not him. Her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and smiled. He says the couch finally arrived. That smile, it wasn't for me. I watched her leave, the scent of her new perfume lingering. It wasn't the one I'd bought her for our anniversary. That one used to remind me of spring. This smelled stronger, heavier, like something that wanted to hide. When the door closed, I sighed and called Mark. He answered on the second ring. You sound miserable. What happened now? She's with Lucas again, I said. Helping him with furniture this time, he laughed dryly. Is that what they're calling it? Mark, all right, he said. But seriously, Ethan, that guy's always around. Don't you find that weird? I hesitated. She says he's like a brother, Mark snorted. Yeah, I've heard that line before. Come on, I muttered. Claire's not like that, he sighed. You've been my best friend since college. I've seen people cheat and I've seen people get blind. You're the second one, I rubbed my forehead. You think she's lying? I think you're scared to find out. Silence. He wasn't wrong. Later that night, when Claire came home, I was sitting in the living room. She looked surprised to see me awake. Hey, she said, smiling faintly. You're up. Couldn't sleep, I replied. How was Lucas's furniture adventure? Long. He's hopeless at putting things together, she said with a laugh. It took forever. Did he at least thank you? She frowned. Why are you asking like that? Like what? Like you don't believe me. Because you didn't text. Again. She sighed, dropping her bag on the table. Ethan, I can't report every little thing I do. I'm not asking you to, I said, my voice tightening. Just a message saying you're okay would help. I'm fine, she said coldly. We just lost track of time. I stared at her. You used to hate staying out late. People change. The way she said it, it stung. She walked past me, heading toward the bedroom. I followed, unable to stop myself. You changed your perfume, she glanced back. Yeah, Lucas's sister recommended it. Why? No reason, I lied. It's different, she smiled slightly. Glad you noticed. Her smile again. That same one that didn't reach her eyes. When she turned away, I whispered, I miss how we used to be. She paused. Don't start, Ethan, please, not tonight. I'm not starting anything, I said quietly. I'm just saying what I feel. Then maybe stop feeling so much, she murmured, her voice trembling, before closing the bedroom door behind her. I stood there for a long time, staring at the door. My reflection in the glass cabinet looked like a stranger, someone still pretending everything was fine. Mark's words echoed in my mind. You're scared to find out. Maybe I was. Maybe I still am. When I finally went to bed, she was already asleep, facing away from me. Her phone was on the nightstand, screen down, still glowing faintly. I reached out, almost touching it, but stopped. I told myself love meant trust, but that night, trust felt like a rope around my neck, and every day it was pulling tighter. Her phone buzzed beside me, once, then again. I told myself not to look. She hated when I touched her phone, but the screen lit up and curiosity clawed at me like fire. I turned it over. Lucas, I missed the way you touched me last night. My breath stopped. For a moment I thought maybe I misread it. Maybe it wasn't her phone. Maybe this was some cruel dream, but it wasn't. My hands shook. My throat tightened until I could barely swallow. I stared at those words until they blurred. Touched me last night. My heart felt like glass cracking under pressure. The bathroom door opened. Claire walked out, towel around her hair, humming softly. She looked peaceful, too peaceful. Hey, she said, smiling. You're still up? I couldn't speak. I just stared at her. What's wrong? She asked, frowning. Nothing, I said quickly, turning the phone screen down. Just couldn't sleep. She looked at me longer than usual, suspicion flickering in her eyes. You okay? Yeah, I lied. Just tired. She nodded, grabbed her lotion, started applying it, humming again. The smell of that new perfume filled the air. I hated it now. You staying up? She asked. No, I said. I'll sleep soon, she smiled faintly. Good, you look exhausted. I forced a smile. Guess I am. When she went to the bedroom, I followed a few minutes later. She was already under the blanket, scrolling through her phone. Talking to Lucas? I asked, voice flat. Her thumb froze. What? Nothing, I said. Just asked, she sighed. Ethan, please don't start tonight. I'm tired. I'm not starting anything. Good, she muttered, putting her phone on the nightstand. Let's just sleep. I lay beside her, staring at the ceiling. I could hear her breathing slow, steady, calm. I wasn't calm. Every heartbeat felt like a scream. At midnight, I turned away, pressing my face into the pillow so she wouldn't hear me breathing hard. I could still smell him on her skin, whiskey, smoke, something that wasn't mine I wanted to ask. I wanted to shake her awake and make her tell me the truth. But fear paralyzed me. What if she confirmed it? What if I heard the words I couldn't survive? At 2 a.m., she shifted closer in her sleep, her hand brushing my arm. I froze. My body stiffened, but she didn't notice. "Ethan," she murmured softly, half asleep. "Love you." I closed my eyes. The words hit me like knives. You don't say I love you after saying I miss the way you touched me to another man. When the sun rose, she got up first. I kept my eyes closed, pretending to sleep. I heard her moving around, humming as if nothing had happened. Her phone buzzed again. I listened. She picked it up, whispered, "You can't text me this early," and then laughed quietly. Something inside me broke completely. She left for work 10 minutes later. The moment the door shut, I sat up and stared at the phone again. My hands hovered over it. I wanted to throw it, smash it, destroy it. Instead, I just whispered, "Why, Claire?" Mark's words echoed again in my mind. "You're scared to find out." He was right. But now I wasn't scared anymore. I was numb. That evening, when she came home, she kissed my cheek like nothing had changed. "How was your day?" she asked casually, pouring herself a glass of wine. "Fine," I said. "Yours?" "Busy," she replied. "Lucas's project is stressing him out." I stared at her silent. "What?" she asked. "Nothing," I muttered. "Just wondering if he's okay," she smiled faintly. "He will be. He just needs support." "Yeah," I said quietly. "Seems like he's getting plenty." She froze for half a second, then smiled again, forced, nervous. "You're acting strange lately." "Am I?" "Yes," she said. "You're distant." I almost laughed. "I'm distant? I guess I'm just tired," I said instead. She came closer, resting a hand on my arm. "Don't let work kill you." Her touch burned. I looked at her hand, then at her face. The woman I loved, the one I trusted completely, she was gone. "I won't," I whispered. "Don't worry." She smiled again, leaned in and kissed my cheek. And all I could think about was Lucas. That night, when she fell asleep beside me, I stayed awake. Every heartbeat screamed betrayal. The morning light cut through the curtains like a blade landing on her face. She stirred, unaware that I'd been awake all night, rehearsing every word I'd say. "Claire," I whispered, my throat dry. She blinked, half asleep. What's wrong?" I held her phone in my hand. "How long?" Her eyes widened. "Ethan, what are you talking about?" I swallowed hard. "Don't do that, please, don't pretend. Just tell me how long you've been sleeping with him." Her lips parted, but no words came. Then her shoulders sagged. "It wasn't supposed to happen," she whispered. I laughed, sharp and hollow. "You mean cheating wasn't supposed to happen or getting caught wasn't?" Tears welled in her eyes. "Ethan, please. It's not like that." I clenched my jaw. "Then what is it like, Claire? Enlighten me. Because from where I'm standing, it looks exactly like betrayal." She sat up, pulling the blanket around her. It just happened. Lucas was going through a lot. We talked. One night, things went too far, and too far? I cut her off. "You say that like it's an accident. You tripped and fell into his arms?" "Stop it!" she snapped. "You don't understand what it's been like for me. You're always working, always distant. I needed someone to talk to." I stared at her, stunned. "So you talk with your clothes off now?" Her face twisted in pain. "Don't mock me. I made a mistake. A horrible mistake." I shook my head slowly. "A mistake ends once." "You made a choice, again and again." She buried her face in her hands. "I still love you." Those words hit me harder than the betrayal itself. "You love me?" I repeated, voice cracking. "You love me while lying to me every night?" Her sobs filled the silence. "Ethan, please. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't plan this." "Of course you didn't plan it," I said bitterly. "People never plan to destroy someone they love. It just happens, right?" She reached out for me. "Can we just talk? Really talk? We can fix this if you'd just fix this?" I stepped back. "You broke something that doesn't glue back together, Claire." Her voice trembled. "I can't lose you." I looked at her, this woman I'd built my world around, and felt nothing but emptiness. "You already did." She sobbed harder, the sound echoing in the small room. I grabbed my jacket, needing air, distance, anything. "Ethan, don't go," she cried, grabbing my arm. "Please!" "I'm sorry." I turned to her, meeting her red, desperate eyes. "Do you even know what you're sorry for? For cheating? For lying? Or for being caught?" She froze, speechless. That's what I thought. I walked toward the door, her voice chasing me like a ghost. "Ethan, don't leave like this." "Please." My hand lingered on the doorknob. For a second, memories flashed. Her laughter at Grace's birthday, the way she'd rested her head on my shoulder during the fireworks, whispering, "We're forever." Grace adored her. She'd called Claire her sister. How would she look at her now? I turned back one last time. "Do you remember what you told Grace last Christmas?" Claire sniffled, confused. "What?" "You told her love means never hiding. That if someone lies even once, it's not love. It's fear." She stared at me, silent. "I guess you were afraid of me then," I said quietly. She took a step forward. "I was afraid of losing you." "And now you have," I said, opening the door. The cold air hit me like punishment. She called after me, voice breaking, "Ethan, please!" "We can still..." But I didn't turn back. The sound of her crying faded behind the door, swallowed by the wind. Walking down the street, I felt no anger, no hatred, just a hollow ache where love used to live. People say betrayal feels like fire, but to me, it was ice. The world moved around me, cars passing, dogs barking, children laughing, but everything inside me was still. For the first time in years, I didn't feel married. I didn't feel loved. I didn't even feel alive. I only felt empty. And as I walked away from the house that once felt like home, I realized some endings don't explode. They just fade quietly, like the sound of a heart breaking behind a closed door. The day she left, the apartment didn't even echo with the sound of the door closing. It just went silent. Her shoes were gone. Her perfume lingered like a ghost I couldn't banish. I sat on the couch staring at the empty space where her plants used to be. My fingers rubbed the ring on my hand until it hurt. Mark came over that evening. He didn't knock, just walked in like always. "She's really gone, huh?" he asked quietly. "Yeah." My voice came out rough. He looked around the half-empty room. "You okay?" "Do I look okay?" I muttered. He sighed and sat beside me. "I don't know what to say, man. She messed up bad. But you'll get through it." I gave a short laugh. "Through what? Losing my wife? My best friend, my life?" Mark's eyes softened. "You didn't lose your life, Ethan. Just someone who didn't deserve to stay in it." I didn't answer. I just kept staring at the dent on the couch cushion, her spot. After a long pause, he said, "You want to grab a drink later?" "No. You sure? Could help clear your head." "I don't want my head clear," I said. "When it's clear she's gone." He exhaled slowly. "All right. I'll check in later, okay?" When he left, the silence returned. It wasn't peaceful, it was suffocating. I sat there for hours, staring at nothing. Every sound outside, the hum of cars, the faint laughter of neighbors, felt like life mocking me for stopping. Days blurred. Work was the only thing I had left to pretend I was normal. That's where Sophie noticed me. She was new, a few months into the job. Always polite, always smiling in that quiet way that didn't demand anything. One morning I was sitting at my desk, staring at my computer screen without seeing it. She stopped beside me. "You look like you fought a war and lost," she said softly. "Something like that," I muttered. "Coffee?" she offered, holding out a cup. I made an extra. I hesitated. "You didn't have to." "Maybe not," she said, "but you look like you haven't tasted kindness in a while." Her words caught me off guard. "You shouldn't say things like that to coworkers," she smiled faintly. "Then consider me just a person, not a coworker, for a minute." I took the cup. It was warm, too warm for how cold I'd been feeling. "Thanks." She sat on the edge of my desk. "Rough time?" I looked at her, trying to read if she really wanted to know or was just being polite. "My wife left." "Oh," she whispered. "I'm sorry. Don't be," I said. "She made her choice." "That doesn't make it easier," Sophie replied. "Being left never does." Her voice was steady, but there was something behind it, like she understood too well. "You sound like you've been there," I said. She nodded. 2 years ago? Different story, same ache. We both went quiet. The office hummed around us, printers, phones, laughter that didn't belong to either of us. She broke the silence first. You know, Ethan, you don't deserve this. I blinked. What? Being treated like you were disposable, she said simply. No one does. I stared at the steam rising from my coffee. Deserve doesn't mean much anymore. Maybe not, she said softly, but it's still true. That was the first time in weeks someone had said something that didn't hurt. Later that day, as she passed by, she left a sticky note on my desk. Try to eat lunch today. I stared at it for a long time. Such a small thing. Yet it felt like sunlight breaking through a cloud. When I got home that night, I sat in the quiet again, but something was different. The silence didn't bite as hard. I still saw her ghost in every room, Claire laughing near the window, her hair catching the light. But now, for the first time, I didn't chase the memory. I let it fade. Mark texted, "You good?" I typed back, trying. He replied with a thumbs-up emoji. Simple, but enough. I placed Sophie's note on the fridge beside an old photo of me and Claire. The contrast hurt, but it also reminded me that maybe, just maybe, life wasn't done with me yet. Healing didn't come crashing in like a storm. It whispered. And though I wasn't ready to listen, I heard it anyway, in a stranger's kindness, in Mark's silence, in the echo of what used to be love. The apartment was still empty. But for the first time since she left, it didn't feel like a grave. It just felt quiet, and maybe quiet was the first step toward living again. Months slipped by like pages I didn't remember writing. Work became my only rhythm. Meetings, emails, coffee, repeat. The silence of my apartment had stopped screaming. Now it just watched. One Monday morning, Mark showed up at my desk, grinning like he knew a secret. You seen the news? He asked. I frowned. What news? He spun his phone toward me. A headline blinked on the screen. Marketing Director Lucas Hayes fired amid internal misconduct investigation. My heart didn't race. It just slowed. He got fired? Apparently, yeah. Whole office talking about it. Some big mess with client funds. And guess who was yelling at him in the parking lot yesterday? I didn't answer. I didn't have to, Mark smirked. Your ex-wife. I leaned back in my chair. Claire? Yeah, word is they're crashing hard. Public arguments, drama, all that. I looked down at my hands. That was fast. He studied me. You okay? I'm fine, I said quietly. Come on, Ethan, you can say it. You're a little happy, right? I thought about it. The answer wasn't simple. Not happy, I said. Just done, Mark nodded slowly. Fair enough. Guess karma's clocked in early. When he left, I stared out the window. The city moved on, same as always. I wondered if Claire thought about me when everything started collapsing, or if she was too busy trying to hold on to a man who never planned to stay. That night, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hello? A woman's voice, soft but strained, answered, Is this Ethan Miller? Yes, who's this? It's Olivia. Olivia Carter, I was Lucas's ex, I straightened. Oh, I hope this isn't weird, she said quickly. I just thought you should know what's happening. What is happening? I asked, though I already knew. They're falling apart, she said, almost whispering. I ran into them at a restaurant last week. He was shouting at her, saying she ruined his life. She cried. Everyone was staring. I didn't speak, Olivia continued. He's been drinking, missing meetings. His reputation's wrecked. And Claire, she looked lost, like she didn't know who he was anymore. I rubbed my forehead. Why are you telling me this? Because I know what betrayal feels like, she said softly. And I know you didn't deserve it. I let out a slow breath. Neither did you. Maybe not, she said. But it's strange, isn't it? How life evens things out. Yeah, I said. It doesn't ask for permission. It just happens, she hesitated. Do you hate them? I used to, I admitted. Now, I just don't care. They did what they did. The world did the rest. There was a silence between us, gentle, not awkward. Then she said, You sound at peace. Peace? I repeated. No, just tired of being angry. She gave a small laugh. That's close enough. Before hanging up, she said quietly, For what it's worth, I hope you find someone better. Thanks, Olivia, I said. I hope you do too. After the call, I sat for a long time, staring at the phone screen. I didn't feel victorious, just balanced. The next day, Sophie stopped by my desk again. "You look lighter," she said. "Do I?" "Yeah, like you finally put down something heavy." I smiled faintly. "Maybe I did." She tilted her head. "Want to talk about it?" I shook my head. "No need." "The universe handled it for me," she grinned. "Ah, so you believe in karma now?" "I believe people eventually meet themselves," I said. She murmured. "That's poetic." "I like that." Her kindness didn't fill the space Claire left. It didn't have to. It just reminded me there were softer kinds of people in the world. Later that week, Mark sent me a text. Heard Claire moved out of Lucas's place. I stared at the message for a moment before replying, "Let her find her way." I already found mine. No bitterness. No desire to see her broken. Just quiet acceptance. That night, I stepped onto my balcony, the city lights shimmering below. The air smelled like rain and something clean. For the first time, I didn't think of her face. I thought of peace, small, slow, but real. Maybe karma wasn't about punishment. Maybe it was about balance. Lucas lost everything he lied for. Claire got the truth she ran from, and me? I got silence that finally didn't hurt. I smiled to myself, whispering into the night, "Karma doesn't need help. It just needs time." The wind carried it away, gentle and final. The first letter started with her name. Just Claire, I didn't plan to write it. It happened one night when sleep refused to come and the silence felt heavier than grief. My pen moved before I could stop it. "Claire," I wrote, "I don't know if I hate you or miss you more." The words looked childish on paper, but they felt honest. The next morning, I took the letter to my therapy session. Dr. Helen sat across from me, legs crossed, notepad in hand. She always looked calm, like nothing in the world could shake her. "You wrote something?" she asked, noticing the folded paper in my hand. "Yeah," I said. "A letter I'll never send." She smiled faintly. "Can I hear it?" I hesitated. "It's ugly. So is healing," she said. "Read it." I unfolded it slowly. My voice cracked at the start. "Claire, you broke something in me that I didn't know could break. I keep wondering if you ever think about me, or if Lucas's voice is enough to drown mine. Sometimes I hate you for making me small, and sometimes I pity you for never being satisfied. You said you loved me once. Was that ever real?" Dr. Helen's voice was quiet. "And what do you feel after reading that?" "I don't know," I admitted. "Tired, but lighter." "Then write another," she said. "Until you stop feeling heavy." So I did, every night. I wrote another letter, some angry, some broken, some full of questions no one could answer. One said, "I hope he gives you what I couldn't." Another whispered, "You ruined me, but maybe I needed to be ruined." And one night I wrote, "Thank you for teaching me what love isn't. I never meant to forgive her. I just wanted to understand how someone could love and destroy in the same breath." Weeks later, during another session, Dr. Helen asked, "Do you still think of her as the woman who hurt you?" I leaned back. Sometimes, but more often now I think of her as the lesson I had to learn. "That's progress," she said. "I don't want to forgive her," I muttered. "Forgiveness isn't for her," she said gently. "It's for you." I stared at the floor. "That sounds like something people say to sound wise," she smiled. "Maybe, but it's still true," I sighed. "You really believe people can heal?" "I believe people can stop bleeding," she said. "Healing comes after that." That night, I went home and sat with all the letters spread out across my table. Pages and pages of anger, confusion, and longing stared back at me. I picked up the first one, the one that began with, "I don't know if I hate you or miss you more." It didn't hurt as much to read now. I laughed quietly. "You'd probably roll your eyes at this," I said to no one. The walls didn't answer, but the silence felt softer than before. I grabbed a blank page and began again. "Claire," I wrote, "I'm doing better." "You wouldn't recognize me now." I laugh again, sometimes at things that aren't funny. "I don't wait for your messages anymore. I don't replay your voice in my head. You used to fill every corner of me. Now you're just a memory, like an old song I don't listen to anymore." When I finished, I sat back and exhaled. Dr. Helen's words echoed in my mind. Closure isn't about forgetting. It's about forgiving yourself for trusting the wrong person. For so long, I thought forgiveness meant weakness, but maybe it was freedom. At our next session, she asked, "Have you decided what to do with the letters?" Not yet, I said. Burn them, maybe. Or keep them, she suggested. As proof you survived. I thought about that. Maybe I'll do both, she smiled. That's also healing. That weekend, I sat on my balcony with a lighter and the letters stacked beside me. I burned the first few, the angry ones, the ones that still smelled like heartbreak. The ashes floated away like pieces of the person I used to be, but I kept one. The last one. The one that said I'm doing better because I was. Not perfect. Not whole, but better. And for the first time since the night she left, I didn't need her name to feel alive. I didn't need her apology either. I folded the letter carefully and placed it in a drawer. Not to remember her, but to remember me. The me who finally stopped bleeding. The me who finally learned to breathe again. My phone rang late that evening. The screen lit up with her name, Claire. I hesitated, then swiped. Ethan? Her voice was small, hesitant. I took a deep breath. Yes, what's going on?
Can we talk?
I paused. Something in her tone made me uneasy. Fine, where? A cafe near your office. I'll wait. I hung up and drove there, the city lights blurring past. When I walked in, she was already sitting at a corner table, hunched over, hands wrapped around a cup of tea. Her hair fell in strands around her face. Claire, I said, sliding into the seat opposite her. She looked up. Her eyes were red, tired. Hi, I studied her quietly. She didn't seem angry or defensive, just broken. I made a mistake, she whispered. I didn't respond. I thought Lucas was everything, she said, voice trembling. But he left? He walked out, Ethan. I nodded slowly. I see, she looked down, ashamed.
I know I hurt you.
I never meant, Claire, I interrupted softly. I'm not angry anymore. Her head snapped up. You're not? I shook my head. Not at you. Not anymore. I've stopped bleeding for your choices. Her lips quivered. I don't know how to fix this. I leaned back. There's nothing to fix. Not for us. Her tears fell silently onto the table. I didn't reach for her hand. I didn't comfort her. I just watched. Why aren't you angry? She asked quietly. Because anger doesn't suit me anymore, I said. And because watching you suffer isn't going to change the past. She swallowed hard. Do you forgive me? I studied her for a long moment. Forgiveness isn't about you. It's about me. And yes, I've forgiven myself for trusting someone who couldn't stay. Her shoulders sagged, relief and sorrow mixed in her expression. I was selfish, she whispered. You were, I admitted. But that's done. You don't get to take me back. You don't get that power anymore. Her gaze fell to the table. I deserve that, she said. Yes, I said. You did. We sat in silence for a while. The hum of the cafe surrounded us, cups clinking, chairs scraping, faint chatter, but none of it reached us. She started again. I wish I could tell you everything I feel, but I can't. Then don't, I said gently. Just know this, I've moved on. I'm not waiting for closure from you. I made my own, her eyes glistened. Ethan, do you ever think about us? Sometimes, I admitted. But thinking isn't wanting anymore. I've learned the difference, she nodded slowly. I hoped you'd hate me. I used to, I said quietly. Hate was exhausting. And I'm done being exhausted. She wiped her cheeks with a trembling hand. You're stronger than I imagined, I shrugged. I had to be. Her lips trembled. I wish I could take back everything. You can't, I said. But you can learn from it. That's all anyone can do. We sat there a little longer, neither speaking. I felt calm. For the first time in years, the storm that had been my heart was quiet. She finally stood. Thank you for seeing me. I understand now, I nodded. I hope you do. Take care of yourself, Claire. She gave a small, sad smile and walked away. I watched her leave. The streets outside glimmered with lights and rain. Life moved forward, indifferent to the past. For the first time, the power was mine. Not revenge, not anger, not longing, just peace. I breathed in the cool evening air and realized I didn't need her anymore. She had her mistakes. I had my freedom. And that was enough. The night air was cool as I walked out of the office. My shoulders felt lighter, though I didn't know why. Maybe it was the months of letters, therapy, and quiet healing finally stacking into something I could call peace. Sophie was waiting by the car, hands tucked into her coat pockets. She looked up and smiled when she saw me. "Hey," she said softly. "Hey," I replied, forcing a small smile. "You okay?" I shrugged. "Better than I have been in a long time." She nodded like she understood more than I realized. "Good. I've been worried about you." "I know." I started walking toward her. She didn't move, just watched me. "You don't have to walk alone," she said after a pause. I looked at her. "I usually do." "Not tonight," she insisted. I hesitated, then let her step closer. Without thinking, I let myself lean into her hug. It was soft, warm, and safe. I didn't pull back. For the first time in months, I let someone hold me without guilt or fear. "You smell like coffee," I muttered quietly, trying to distract myself from the strange comfort. She laughed softly. "And you smell like fresh rain." We stood like that for a moment. The city lights flickered around us. Somehow it didn't feel lonely anymore. I never thought a hug could feel like home, I admitted. "Home isn't a place," she said. "It's a feeling." "You just found it again." I pulled back slightly to look at her. "You make it easy to breathe, Sophie." Her cheeks flushed. "Good, that's the idea." We walked toward the car together. Her presence was calm, grounding. I realized love didn't have to hurt, didn't have to leave scars or memories that burned. It could be simple, quiet, and real. "Do you ever think about her?" she asked carefully. I hesitated. "Sometimes. But thinking isn't longing anymore. Claire's a shadow I don't follow." She nodded. "That's good." "I'm not the same man I was," I admitted. "I used to chase ghosts, wait for apologies that never came. I thought love meant pain." "You were wrong," she said softly. "Love isn't about hurting." "No," I said, shaking my head. "It isn't, and I'm done convincing myself otherwise." We reached the car. I opened the door for her. She glanced at me and smiled, gentle, patient, like she'd been waiting for me to arrive at this place. "Do you want to drive?" I asked. "I'd love to," she said. As we drove through the quiet streets, I realized I could finally breathe without her name pressing on my chest. My past with Claire no longer dictated how I felt, how I moved, or who I could be. "I'm glad you're here," I said after a while, voice quiet. "Me too," she said. "You ever feel like you're finally free?" I asked. "Yes," she said, eyes on the road. "And you look like it too." I smiled, a real one this time. "I am. Free from bitterness, free from regrets, free from shadows that didn't belong to me." She reached over and touched my hand lightly. "Then let's not look back." "Not looking back," I agreed. Her warmth stayed with me as we drove. For the first time in years, I felt steady, grounded, and capable of loving again. First myself, then maybe someone else. Claire faded into my past. I remembered her, but only as the lesson I had to survive. No anger, no longing, no emptiness, just the quiet acknowledgement that she belonged to yesterday, not today. I glanced at Sophie. "You know, this feels right. Being here now?" "It does," she said softly. I realized that strength wasn't in revenge or rage or waiting for apologies. The strength was in letting go. Letting go of what hurt me, letting go of what no longer served me, and letting someone new in without fear. We drove on in silence, not uncomfortable, not awkward, just two people moving forward together. I wasn't the same man I had been when Claire left me. I wasn't fragile, lost, or bitter anymore. I was learning to love myself first, quietly, steadily. And as the night stretched on, I understood something important. Love that didn't hurt could be just as real, maybe even stronger than the love that once broke me. I smiled to myself. For the first time, I was ready for life, ready for happiness, ready to let go completely, and it felt good. I stood in front of the old apartment, keys in hand. The building looked smaller somehow, like memory had stretched it larger than it really was. I took a deep breath. The door opened with a familiar creak. Dust floated in the sunlight streaming through the windows. I didn't expect to feel anything, but I did. Not pain, not anger, just clarity. I stepped inside, my footsteps echoing lightly on the wooden floor. "Hello?" I said softly, almost as a joke. Of course, no one answered. I walked through the room slowly. The walls were bare now. No photographs, no reminders, no traces of Claire. It was empty, but not cold. The silence felt like space finally given back to me. I set the keys down on the kitchen counter, letting my fingers linger on them. I used to hate these, I muttered to myself. Symbols of everything I lost. Everything I couldn't fix, I laughed quietly. Now they feel different. The light caught a scratch on the counter, faint but noticeable. I remembered spilling coffee here, fighting with Claire, trying to make sense of her absence. I walked to the living room window and looked out. The city moved on as if nothing had happened. People below rushed by, oblivious to the small dramas that had once consumed me. I heard a soft voice in my mind. Dr. Helen's. Closure isn't forgetting. It's forgiving yourself, I smiled faintly. That lesson had taken a year to truly understand. You know, Helen, I whispered, I think I finally get it. I'm not forgetting. I'm not chasing the past, I'm done. The sunlight warmed my face. I closed my eyes for a moment, letting it fill me. Sophie had called last week. Are you ready to visit it? She'd asked. I laughed into the phone. Maybe someday. But I wasn't ready then. Now I was. I could walk through these rooms without being haunted by memory or regret. The apartment wasn't a grave, it was a classroom. Every wall, every scratch, every quiet corner had taught me something about myself. I ran my fingers along the counter one last time. Thank you, I whispered. For the lessons. For the pain. For showing me who I am when I'm not defined by someone else. I turned the keys over in my hand, feeling their weight, then placed them gently back on the counter. No clatter. No dramatic gesture. Just a quiet letting go. I walked through the apartment one more time, each step light. The rooms were empty, but I didn't feel emptiness. I felt completion. I paused at the doorway. My hand lingered on the frame. I thought of Claire, not with bitterness, not with longing, but with understanding. She was a chapter I had read, learned from, and now closed. I smiled softly. You were part of me once. Now you're part of the past, and I'm ready to live. The door clicked behind me as I stepped outside. The air was warm with the late afternoon sun. People passed by, dogs barked somewhere, and the city hummed with life. I walked slowly, letting the sun wash over me. For the first time, I didn't carry her memory as a weight. I didn't clutch at what was lost. I didn't even glance back. A bird flew across the sky, white against the blue, free. I followed it with my eyes for a moment, then looked ahead. Life had taken everything once. Then it gave back something more valuable. Strength, clarity, and the ability to choose myself. I felt it in my chest, a lightness I hadn't known in years. The keys rested on the counter behind me. A simple gesture, but monumental. Letting go of the past didn't mean forgetting. It meant owning my life, my choices, and my peace. I breathed in deeply. The air smelled of hope, of new beginnings, and as I stepped into the sun, I felt it fully, free, not angry, not hurt, not longing, just alive, and that was enough.